Rachel Zegler and Disney's Snow White, the gift that keeps on giving.
Disney executives are trying anything and everything to somehow avoid the catastrophe that the Snow White movie is on track to become. It's fair to say that the marketing
Everything but trying to be faithful, stick to the source material, and try to pretend at least that they don't hate men and especially white men.
campaign has been a total disaster so far, thanks to the movie's lead star Rachel Zegler, who managed to make herself arguably the most hated person in Hollywood and completely destroyed
That's a stretch. There's others that we hate also a lot.
this movie's chances at success. She started conflict with audiences, with her acting colleagues in Hollywood like Gal Gadot, and
She did not even hesitate on day one to just completely try and destroy everyone that she doesn't like, especially the people who would critique her even on the most minorest of things.
even with Disney, the company that made the biggest mistake in its history when it hired her. And they know that now, which is why they have to come up with a new strategy to save the movie, which is
I have to say, saying that Disney's biggest mistake ever was Rachel Zegler, that's a stretch, okay? Disney has done worse. Everything it has done to Star Wars, everything that it has done to itself, they even made Pixar not make money for a time, which is insane because those are kids' movies. Because they put them full of politics, evoke nonsense, and anti-Trump bullshit.
by letting Rachel go on something that people have been describing as an apology tour, to turn public perception on herself and the Snow White movie around, by saying pretty much the exact opposite of what she used to say.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again.
As a diehard Disney fan myself, I feel like I see every release, an opening weekend.
We're gonna cover that today.
Oh, she's so slimy. You could, dude. Does she not look like Palpatine? Would she not be a better Rey Skywalker Palpatine than Rey ever would be? Disney, put the right actors in the right places. She definitely is the evil Palpatine female version, no questions.
And compare Rachel's past interviews to her interviews now to see just how different they are. Cause this is probably the most lousy, disingenuous thing Disney and Rachel Zegler have pulled off so far. So let's get into it. As probably everyone has realized that
God, look at this CGI. I want to kill this. Okay, no exceptions. I want to get rid of the world, rid the world of whatever this pain is.
at this point, Disney has recently relaunched its marketing campaign for the Snow White movie. And yes, they relaunched it, cause the movie was originally supposed to release back in March of 2024, but was pushed back an entire year to March of 2025.
Oh, this movie has had so many reshoots. I mean, what are you even supposed to expect at this point?
Disney listed the SAG-AFTRA strike as a reason for this, but I personally think it's much more likely that Disney needed more time to make changes on the movie, like to replace the dwarf actors with CGI dwarfs, as well as change certain scenes and plot points that leaked on the internet and resulted in a massive backlash online. And this, combined with the massive backlash that was already
Imagine, by the way, Gal Gadot being like, "Oh my God, look at this! It's so much better looking than me." The horror. Yeah, no.
going on against Rachel Zegler led Disney to panic, and in an act of damage control they pushed back the movie an entire year, hoping that the year would be enough for people to calm down. But judging by the negative reaction
People are gonna remember. There's no such thing as calming down in this situation. It's not some politician accidentally touched inappropriately a child or 50. Okay? It's not accidentally going to an island. People are never gonna forget. This is movies. This is real business.
to the trailer, people have clearly not forgotten, and that's putting it mildly. And Disney is worried like never before, cause the movie reportedly cost over $209 million to produce.
The funny part about this is we know that Disney lies about the budget. They always undervalue it and underreport it.
Without even counting marketing costs. And it's currently on track to become not just
Oh, and I don't mean marketing costs, just in general. The raw budget without marketing, they always underreport it turns out.
The company's most hated movie, but also its biggest financial flop ever. Which is why Disney and Rachel Zegler have recently begun an apology tour, as people are calling it, in an attempt to make her more likable. And people are pointing out how it seems like Rachel Zegler
Not gonna work. She's just a detestable human being in general. It's not gonna work.
is trying to apologize for her previous statements that made her so unpopular by basically saying the exact opposite of what she was saying just a year ago. Cause we now have two D23 Expo interviews of Rachel Zegler to compare. One from 2023 and one from 2024. So exactly 1 year later, as the movie was pushed back an entire year. So we are at exactly the same point in time as a year ago, where Rachel Zegler turned everyone against herself with some disastrous interviews. And now, as the marketing tour is rolling out, again, Rachel has to promote the movie, again. So let's compare the interviews to see where Rachel Zegler and Disney have
This is the only picture where she is reasonably hot. And this is the only usable thing for thumbnails almost.
made clear changes to their marketing approach.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. So we didn't do that this time. I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being
I mean, this is what you call a product of your environment, to be honest. It's sad.
so serious. I watched it once, never.
And I have never once in my life not felt attraction to a woman in this short of a skirt. Okay, this is hard. This is hard to do. This requires effort.
It up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once, never revisited Snow White again. So I watched it for the first time in probably 16, 17 years when I was doing this film.
Yeah, as a diehard Disney fan myself, who I feel like I see every release and opening weekend, it's like getting to show it to your best friends in a way that you're just like, you won't believe what we did. And so it's been really, really amazing to get to hear their live reactions too.
So what's already becoming pretty clear here is how Rachel Zegler is now suddenly talking about being a die-hard Disney fan and loving the studio, whereas before it was all about how problematic the original Snow White movie was and how it needed to be changed. What needs to be mentioned is that she's still talking about the same company here. The original Snow White movie was made by Disney, the company
Everything was made by Disney.
she's working for. And that movie is basically what made the company. Cause it was not just Disney's
Was it?
first ever movie, but the first full-length animated film in history. So while she of
Oh.
course doesn't have to like everything that the company
did not
ever
know
put
that.
out, it's easy to see why talking negatively about the movie that made Disney what it is would result in the backlash that she received. And especially when comparing her previous statements to now, it becomes quite noticeable how while she keeps her answers much more vague, she's very much expressing how she is a huge fan herself and how she loves Disney deeply. So let's take a look at the next part of the interview, as there are more interesting comparisons to be made between the interviews a year ago and the way she decided to give her interview now.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
She's not going to be
yeah.
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be.
I love the look. Okay, we were supposed to say this one thing, that it's woman empowerment, but now you're speaking too much. I love the scene. This scene is so iconic. Please stop talking. Please. We said the one line that we needed to say. Now you shut the fuck up.
If she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
This interview, by the way, goes even longer. It's just funny how Gal Gadot has that blank stare, and she's like, no. It's just one line about female empowerment, and that's it. Oh no! Stop, please. Oh, this is good.
That she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
I mean, it's been under wraps for so long, so it's really exciting to get to share any kind of look with an audience that
By the way, Gal Gadot's fake smile is just so off-putting, in my honest opinion. How are you a goddamn Hollywood celebrity and you don't even know how to do a fake smile? This is what Gal Gadot is doing. Yeah, doesn't look that good. She needs to do this. Yeah, smile with the mouth, not with this spot. How does she not know how to do that?
That care so much. It's been really, really amazing.
So I think there's a bunch of clear differences in not just what she's saying, but also in how she's saying it. In her 2023 interviews, I think we see much more of who Rachel Zegler actually is. Her loud and obnoxious personality.
Yeah, bitter, annoying, self-centered, hateful, full of vitriol. Yeah, that's pretty much who she is, and everyone knows it.
That really didn't seem to connect with audiences. And now combine that with what she was saying about how outdated and problematic the original classic is, and it's pretty obvious why she made herself quite unlikable. I don't think she was quite aware that she was supposed to promote the movie and not sabotage it. But she seems to have gotten it now, cause compare her previous appearance
to be fair, in Rachel Zegler's defense, and yes, I said that correctly, in her defense, she did not know that the rest of the world does not think like her. Which is a common problem for people who literally live in a bubble and are self-centered.
To the way she's presenting herself now. She's a lot calmer and comes off as a lot more composed. And her answers are not focused anymore on how much she dislikes the original and how this remake is much better than the classic. But the focus of her answers now is much more about giving to the fans and honoring the audiences. And this change in how Rachel Zegler presents herself and how she talks about the movie seems to be the influence of Disney executives. Cause especially this fan-centric approach seems to be a general strategy that Disney is currently applying to many of their movies. They did the same thing to promote Deadpool and Wolverine, where all of the marketing was not about the stars or their opinions, but all about what the fans would receive with the movie and how the main goal was completely about pleasing the fans and not about pushing any sort of political message onto them.
Life is hard for a lot of people out there, and it's been that way for a long time. And just for people to walk out of that movie theater feeling like they just had the best 2 hours of their entire life, something that is like unexpectedly moving, but still retains all of that audacity and you know, sort of wild subversion that you come to expect with this character in this world.
And with Deadpool and Wolverine, Disney's approach at marketing it clearly paid off in a big way. The movie made over $1.3 billion and has thus become the highest grossing R-rated movie ever and the second highest grossing movie of 2024. And the highest grossing movie of the year is yet another Disney movie, Inside Out 2, having made almost $1.7 billion, thus also becoming the highest grossing animated film ever. And Inside Out 2 was yet another movie that Disney received praise for keeping it free of any divisive politics and focused entirely on just
Wow, imagine, by the way, it is so wild that Disney actually has a license to freely print money, but yet they're billions in debt because they're a bunch of fucking idiots who care about political panderings, messages, and woke garbage. It's so easy to make money when you're Disney, and yet they choose to do everything to sabotage themselves. It's beautiful, truly.
Just telling a good story and making it a good follow-up for fans of the first movie. They did that and they were rewarded for it. So now, where they managed to produce the two most successful movies of the year, with both of them following a similar strategy, Disney thought that they could apply the same strategy to Snow White as well. But the reason they won't succeed with this is because the damage is already done. People remember Rachel Zegler's 2023 interviews. They're not that old and they garnered massive attention, to the point where everybody and their mother know them in and out. And one quick look at the comment section of any video, including their trailer, is enough.
The biggest thing Disney accomplished from this trailer is leaving the comment section on. True. Shrek has more respect for Snow White than Disney does. Unironically true. Also, in Shrek we trust, because Shrek is greatness. Great actors with dwarfs. We want to work on screen. Disney. Wait. Great actors with dwarfism. We want to work on screen. Disney. No, we must protect you from yourselves. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. The Marvels lost 237 million dollars. Snow White, hold my beer. Man, it's dude. Who's gonna watch Snow White? Well, listen. I think as an average movie consumer, I think a lot of people do it like me. Okay, there are disasters that you wanna watch. Like Barbie got a lot of people watching it because it was because there were all kinds of talks and rumors about it and whatnot. So people watched it because it seemed like hilariously a disaster, but not that great of a disaster. I watched The Acolyte because it was a disaster, but it was a funny, manageable. This is how much I expect a disaster. But for example, I have not watched Rings of Power. I will not watch Rings of Power because it's just too sad of a disaster. There is an amount of a disaster a movie can be, and people will go and watch it. But Snow White is going to be such a tier of a disaster that I don't think people are going to want to watch it for it being a disaster because it's just too painful.
I have to show you that fans are still frustrated, as nearly every single comment is fans expressing their anger. So even Disney pushing the movie back to create this 1-year break doesn't seem to have helped at all in reducing people's frustrations. And even Rachel Zegler going a year without any Snow White interviews hasn't helped in making her any less unpopular. And I don't think that this new marketing strategy of hers will help her or the movie in any way. And if
Oh, come on. The movie's never going to succeed because it's based on a premises where Gal Gadot is less hot than Rachel Zegler, and everyone knows that's BS. No one believes that, and dude, listen. Maybe Gal Gadot is from Israel and an absolute 100% Zionist. But still, I'm not mind to see her naked. It is what it is, boys. So yeah. Just do that. Movie saved.
If anything, it will only make the damage even worse. The only thing her changed approach is gonna do is make her seem dishonest, cause people know that the way she's presenting herself now is only a performance. And her real character and her real opinions could be seen in many interviews she did in 2023, which has
Yeah. Dude, it does work to actually just flip and start lying. Some people will accept this, but you need to do it kind of slowly, but not instant. Not one day. I hate every old Disney movie because it's misogynist. And then the next day they be like, Disney old movies are the best. I watched every one of them and I love them. They are all special in my heart. That doesn't work. You need to do it slowly. In any case, I guess that's it. Nitty on 10 out of 10. Bye.